I've been selling print on demand for over 8 years and generated multi-million dollar sales. I tell you that to hopefully inspire you that you can do it too. In this video, I want to share some examples of the type of niches that I target that I think are largely responsible for my success. And what you're going to find interesting, I think, is that I don't really try to upload bestsellers. I really go for evergreen niches that can sell any day of the week or of the month or of the year. Okay, and I'm going to give you some examples of evergreens inspired by a recent vacation that I took that I recently got back from. So hopefully we'll have some fun with it. So if you're ready, let's get to it. So we recently got back from a vacation at one of our favorite places in the US. That is Destin, Florida, which is amazing in the month of May specifically because it's not too hot. Got white sand beaches, clear water, what's not to love? It's one of our favorite places, and you're actually going to see why in this video that is meant to be centered around t-shirts, but of course I'm going to sprinkle in some anecdotes along the way. So first, it's like, hey, we were in Destin, Florida. Why not sell shirts related to the location? Literally, Destin, Florida shirt is what I typed into Amazon, and look at some of these results. And these are all, again, what are the primary keywords driving traffic to these shirts? I would like to think probably just Destin, Florida shirt. Keep it simple. In terms of SEO. Now, you can see that these are not best sellers. Look at the BSRs down here. Whoops. Look at the BSRs down here at the bottom of your screen. They're not blowing me away at all. 1.7 million. That's probably selling like once a month. The next one, 1.1 million. Probably selling like once every 4 weeks. And that, the BSR, guys, doesn't equate to an exact number of sales. It fluctuates throughout the year, right? But the lower the BSR, the better. Now, I was mentioning that the success that I've experienced as a print-on-demand seller, I don't usually have bestsellers, right? Like #1 bestsellers where one shirt is selling 10, 20 times a day. Like I've done that, of course, but that's not the backbone of my business. My backbone of my business is similar to something like this where, okay, I just went on vacation. Where did I go? Destin, Florida. Okay, I'm going to upload a few Destin, Florida themed t-shirts, okay, that can sell any time of year. Okay, now by BSR, they're not making any of the people who created these shirts a lot of money, but they are generating sales. Each one of these shirts has reviews, 8 reviews, 11 reviews, 2 reviews, 1 review, and then the one behind me has 8 reviews. So they are selling, and that's really the core of my business. I usually price my products so I'm making around $5 profit per sale as well. By the way, if you have AMZ Suggestion Expander, which is a free Chrome extension, you get additional keywords associated with what you type into the search bar. So when I typed in Destin, Florida into Amazon, before I typed the word shirt, you can see Amazon saying, how about t-shirt, magnet, hat, souvenirs, stickers, okay? But then with AMZ Suggestion Expander, you get additional keywords as well, like long tail. So you get jigsaw puzzle, keychain, koozie, shot glass, hoodie, sign, etc., a patch even, okay? And those are all, if you want to sell through the Amazon and Printful or Printify integration, would all make great opportunities so that instead of you having to guess what people want to buy, literally let the data speak for you, you know what I mean, instead of guessing. So AMZ Suggestion Expander is a free Chrome extension. Also, the way I'm able to see additional data about all the things I search for on Amazon is using the Merch Dominator Chrome extension that I'll link to in the description of this video. They also have a web app as well that you can search on there also. But it gives me the BSR, gives me projected sales, gives me the categories, the title, brands, keywords, etc. I was thinking more about the time we spent in Destin, Florida, and I remembered, oh yeah, Crab Island is a really fun place that you can go to by boat if you ever go to Destin, Florida. It looks something like this, actually, so you can see why it's so much fun. I would definitely recommend it if you go to the area. And what you'll notice is there's plenty of boats, but look closer. There's people in the water. And the water doesn't go too deep. It's probably like 3-4 feet deep max. And that's kind of the whole thing. You just go spend the day there, most likely bring a few drinks, go with some friends, family, etc., and enjoy yourself. Okay. Now you can see why Crab Island shirt was on my mind of hey, like what, again, I'm looking for shirts that I can sell, once a month, once a year even, right? And just continually keep showing up and posting high quality products with volume because it's print on demand. I get automated fulfillment after the sale and I don't need to prepay for anything. I mean, I got my start with e-commerce doing FBA where I had to prepay for everything. With print on demand, it's on demand, perfect. And when it's produced, the tracking gets uploaded automatically. My customer gets an automated message from Amazon or Etsy, wherever you sell, and it's passive. You know what I mean? I made thousands of dollars in profit on sales that took place while I was vacationing at the beach, by the way. I mean, that should be everybody's goal, right? So here, Crab Island, you can see people are already all over it on Amazon. And just like the previous search, the BSRs are not that impressive, but I am perfectly okay with that. Oftentimes, these BSRs that are in the millions, you know what they don't do? They don't attract a lot of competition and low competition, but demand. Look at the demand. Look at the people in this picture. There's plenty of demand. There's even little t-shirt boats that go around, little vendors, and you can buy your t-shirts and they'll just come up to your boat and sell you a shirt right off the back of theirs. Okay. So, yeah, you're not going to be the only person selling a Crab Island shirt. You're going to have to compete with the people there. All right, moving on. Speaking of boats, right? You take a boat to Crab Island. Now I'm thinking, okay, boating shirts. Now we're getting into a more broad niche. Okay, these are where you're going to see lower BSRs. You're going to see more competition, but it's still a niche that I want to be in. I'm thinking extremely long-term. Hopefully you caught my video from earlier this week, 10 tips that help me generate multi-million-dollar sales as a print-on-demand seller. One of my favorite tips I think I mentioned was having a long time horizon. Okay, not needing to be successful and generate sales next week. You know what I mean? Understanding that the work I do today, I'll be benefiting from years down the line. So I'll go into a competitive niche like boating as well, right? I'm just going to write down all these ideas as I'm, living the experiences or reflecting on, in this case, our vacation. So boating shirts, BSRs, 200,000, 300,000, 35,000, 400,000, and behind me, 500,000, generating significantly more frequent sales. Also, boating shirts. How about boozing shirts? We did do a little bit of that at Crab Island as well, as you might imagine. There's a lot of funny alcohol-related shirts. BSRs, comparable to the boating shirts as well. And depending on your keywords, you can often find better opportunities, sub-niches, etc. If you go like kind of broad, and I typed in boozing shirts, you know what I mean? It's not the best set of keywords to probably target. At the same time, though, to Amazon's algorithm, like alcohol shirt, boozing shirt, boating shirt, those are all different queries with different results. And what you see, even though in your mind it may make logical sense to like say, oh, well, an alcohol shirt is the same as a boozing shirt, in Amazon's algorithm, it may not be treated the same, right? Because different, literal different words being typed into the search bar usually implies like different intent to buy, right? So just think of it that way. Like it's okay to have a very similar design with your SEO optimized around alcohol shirt and a different product listing with a very similar or even the same design, even though you're not really supposed to do that on Amazon. You're supposed to make the designs different. They don't want duplicates, but you could optimize the SEO of a similar design around, one for alcohol shirt, one for boozing shirt. Hopefully that's a good example. How about Gulf of Mexico shirt, right? That the Destin, Florida is on the Gulf. So the Gulf of Mexico shirts, look at those BSRs, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, 129,000, 99,000. Okay. And we can see that thanks to the Merch Dominator Chrome extension. Without that, you're not going to see the BSR and you're just guessing. Okay. That's why I use it so I can make informed decisions. You can literally see even within a niche, like this is a big niche, the Gulf of Mexico. We know this was exploding in popularity coming into 2025. Not all of these design styles, colors, SEO keywords are created equal. Some are performing better than others. You're going to want to see the BSR so you can make a better informed decision with all of your designs, t-shirt colors, SEO, etc. How about Gulf of America? Wait, that has been trademarked. Remember, just one last reminder. It's like, it's trademarked. Do you remember how many Gulf of America shirts we used to see? Well, it looks like they all got pulled from Amazon merch. And there's only a few remaining, and the few remaining are like trying to play that, keyword game where they stump the algorithm. You definitely do not want to do that. That's how you often see people in the comments, in Facebook groups, on Reddit, asking how did they get banned because they didn't break any of the rules, but they did break the rules. They committed trademark infringement and they just don't want to admit it, right? Moving on, how about vacation 2025, right? It is a vacation. It is in 2025. It's a broad niche, but there's a lot of demand and there's a lot of ways you can spin that as well. Like you can sub niche it down to like beach vacation, Florida family vacation, right? Like Florida beach and boats, something like that. You know what I mean? And then if it's still too competitive in your opinion, add the year, add 2025. Cousin crew. We do, oftentimes link up with some of Marielle's cousins while we're down there. So it had my mind like just thinking about my vacation. Well, hey, how about cousin crew shirts? That would make sense if you go on a trip with your cousins. So you can see the BSRs here, 1 mil, 400K, 300K, 280K, 220 behind me, okay? And you'll notice a lot of them, 3 out of the 5 here, have the year 2025 as well on them. Anniversary shirt. Wait, that doesn't make sense, or does it? So yeah, me and Marielle got married in Destin, Florida about a year ago. All right, on the beach. You can see a beautiful photo of us there. And we were back there 1 year later, and we were there a year before that and a year before that too. So we definitely like to go on vacation there. And how about anniversary shirts? Again, I'm just giving you evergreen ideas inspired by my vacation, right? Because this is what I used to do before I had a YouTube channel, and I would just sit down and be like, all right, this print on demand thing, how am I going to make it work? What should I design today? You know what I mean? And when you don't have a big catalog of products already created, the world is your figurative oyster. You can literally do what you want. You pick a niche, make a bunch of designs and upload them to a bunch of products. Like, why does it need to be more complicated than that? I am living proof that it doesn't need to be, okay? But you still got to do, some research. You need to understand how to do good SEO, and you cannot make crappy designs, of course. But I'm giving you, an example that I'm doing mainly evergreens, and anniversary shirt would be a nice example of that. Married on the beach, I thought was a nice, very specific kind of sub niche. You know what I mean? Like, anniversary implies you got married. Well, how about getting married on the beach specifically, right? And your keywords could be married on the beach wedding, beach anniversary. I don't know, probably just married on the beach, and beach wedding honestly is what comes to mind. But you can obviously, deep dive that further. But check this out. So I had to jump on over to Etsy for ideas. They've got print on demand towels, print on demand ornaments inspired by a beach wedding, print on demand, watercolor digital downloads here behind me, where they're probably just using ChatGPT and running that your photo through ChatGPT. But hey, can't hate on that them for that. Also, last idea here for t-shirt ideas. Back pain, because I managed to hurt my back while I was on this trip. All right. And it's funny because I can actually tie it together with what we were just talking about here with married on the beach. All right. So back pain. I have lower back pain. I spend a lot of time at a computer. If you guys didn't know that already, I'm at my computer probably 10 hours a day building these businesses and whatnot. And it's not anything new. I've been addicted to computers since I was 13 years old. My back pain, what's funny enough, led me to going to yoga, which is where I met Marielle. And then, all these years later, we got married and we're celebrating our anniversary. So it all did come full circle, finding the silver lining there. But I thought, you know what? I'm experiencing some back pain right now as I record this, as I talk to you. And how about back pain t-shirts? When I'm creating t-shirts, nobody cares if it seems unrelated to the theme of Florida and the beach and boats and anniversaries. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I can go into all of these niches at the same time, and I intend to. Some back pain t-shirts, BSRs, 1.7 million, 1.6 million, 2.2 million, 600,000, and then the one behind me, 5 million. So a prime example of an evergreen niche that I would happily sell in. And if it makes me 2 sales a year and $10 profit, I will happily take that, because it only takes me as long as it takes me to create these listings. After that, they sit online forever, making me money with automated fulfillment. That is the name of the game for me. And I'm being transparent with you about that. So hopefully, if it makes sense, you can go and pursue the same kind of approach to print on demand. If not, you can go chase trends. It's really all good. Whatever you want to do, just be doing something, right? You don't get paid by not uploading products. You need to upload products to have any chance of making sales, making money. And I'm assuming that's your goal, as it's been mine for over 8 years. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Merch Dominator is linked in the description. I'm using that to assist with my Amazon research. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another new video.